Hey, church family. Hope you're all doing well and staying safe and healthy. And it's so good to be with you on this Wednesday as we get together for a little midweek Bible study and devotional time. Do want to remind you that we are meeting in person on Wednesday nights, and we'd love to have you come join us for that, for Bible study and fellowship time. And hope that you'll come join us at 6:30 tonight and every Wednesday night for that. But we also are glad to be able to offer this stuff online, offer some little bit of Bible study and devotional time online. And it's good to have both, but if all you can do is online, we're so glad to have you for a little bit of time this evening or today or whenever it is that you're watching this. So glad that you have joined us today to do just that. On Sunday mornings, we've been in a series called When God Asks the Questions. And in the series, we've been looking at different questions that God asks of human beings throughout Scripture. And we've looked at some questions that God asked in the Old Testament. We've looked at a couple so far that Jesus, God's Son, asked in the New Testament. And this past Sunday, we looked at a question. The question we looked at is found in a story in John chapter 5. And here's how the story goes. John writes, "Sometime later, Jesus went up to Jerusalem for one of the Jewish festivals. Now there is in Jerusalem near the sheep gate a pool, which in Aramaic is called Bethesda, and which is surrounded by 5 covered colonnades. And here a great number of disabled people used to lie, the blind, the lame, the paralyzed, and they waited for the moving of the waters. From time to time, an angel of the Lord would come down and stir up the waters. The first one into the pool after each such disturbance would be cured of whatever disease they had. And one who was there had been an invalid for 38 years. When Jesus saw him lying there and learned that he had been in this condition for a long time, he asked him, 'Do you want to get well?' 'Sir,' the invalid replied, 'I have no one to help me into the pool when the water is stirred, and while I'm trying to get in, someone else goes down ahead of me.' Then Jesus said to him, 'Get up, pick up your mat and walk.' And at once the man was cured. He picked up his mat and walked." Jesus' encounter with this man at the pool of Bethesda is really a fascinating story to me. Here was a man afflicted with some kind of infirmity for 38 years, and whose excuse for his prolonged condition, or at least when Jesus asked him, "Do you want to get well?" his excuse was, "Sir, I have no one to help me into the pool when the water is stirred, and while I'm trying to get in, someone else goes down ahead of me." I've often wondered, where was his family in all of this? His friends? Did he not have anyone who cared about him enough to get him to the edge of the pool when the water was stirred so that he would be among the first to get in? And it just makes me wonder about the surroundings of the people that are around him. That aside, though, what's really intriguing to me about this story is Jesus' question to the man in verse 6. Do you want to get well? Do you want to get well? It seems to me that Jesus' question spoke not simply to the man's physical problems, but to the man's will, his desire to truly want to be well and whole is really the meaning of that word implicates. As one Bible scholar put it, by asking this question, Jesus designed to excite in this person, in this man, faith, hope, and a greater desire of being healed. He wished him to reflect on his miserable state, that he might be better prepared to receive a cure and to value it when it came. And it makes me wonder, had the man become so comfortable in his condition that healing, while it would have been obviously nice, was no longer a real pressing need for him? I think of some people, Christians included, who seem to relish the role of victim, constantly rehashing and reliving all the negatives that have happened to them in their lives. They themselves will even admit that such a state is stressful and it doesn't bring any happiness. It just leaves them, usually more bitter and depressed and unhappy. And yet, no matter how many people have tried to help them move along in their lives, they're just stuck. Like the man at the pool, their total identity is wrapped up in their condition. It defines them. I mean, you think about it, this man was no longer known and called by his name. He's now the man at the pool, the invalid, crippled man at the pool. And yet, how liberating it is when Jesus comes on the scene. It's not his will to leave us in our present state, but he comes asking the question, do you want to get well? Do you want to get well? In other words, are you sick and tired of being sick and tired? It's interesting that Jesus did not simply ask the man if he wanted to be healed. That would only address his current infirmities. But by asking him if he wanted to be made well, in other words, again, to be made whole, that's what that word really is encapsulated in that word. Jesus was not only speaking, though, when he asked him that, of his physical infirmities, but to the total man. He was asking, do you want to be healthy? Do you want to be whole spiritually, psychologically, emotionally, and also physically? And the healer is asking the same question of us today. I don't know what condition has been holding you hostage, but whatever it is, you don't have to be known by it. You don't have to be defined by it. And while it may be tempting to stay in our dysfunctions because we've had them for so long that we've become accustomed to them, maybe even comfortable in and with them, but rest assured that just as Jesus did with that lame man at the pool, he can do the same for you and me. He can set us free and make us whole. And he can do it today, because that's the kind of God that he is. Hope you have a blessed day. God bless.